Hey yo, what up to the Retain firm? It's your boy Bushle back with another video. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel, and please drop down a comment down below to tell me what I can improve on when it comes to my own videos, and what do you guys want me to talk about on like these semen retention videos. And yeah, so today I just wanted to make a small video, and yeah, to actually give a word of advice to those who are in like the semen retention community and also in the self-improvement community, because semen retention practice its own is part of the self-improvement journey, because there's a whole lot of benefits that comes to it, especially when it comes to the mental benefits, the physical benefit, the physiological benefits, the energetic spiritual benefits. There are so many different layers of like semen retention practice that could also be classified as part of the self-development path. And yeah, ever since I started going through my awakening, there's a whole lot of things that actually changed my world from the last 3 to 4 years. Apparently I could say 3 years, since yeah, it's been since 2022 where like my awakening started occurring. I discovered that the matrix is real, the financial matrix, the mental matrix, like the corporate matrix, yeah, the spiritual matrix. Like the matrix itself exists within different layers, even internally the matrix does exist. And yeah, as soon as like your person who becomes more consciously aware of like the fact that the matrix is real, and how like the system has programmed and indoctrinated most young men and like most young boys to actually excessively deplete and waste their own sexual energy, because we all know, part of the semen retention community, that sexual energy itself, it's a creative life force. It is actually a creative intelligence that exists within each and every single male out there, because like this energy itself can be used to create another human being. It can be used to bring life into existence within this third dimensional plane. Like there's a whole lot of things that apparently this energy is actually used for, and like we take the advantage of it. Of course, semen itself, it's the physical expression of like this creative life force, of this creative intelligence, like residing within our own sexual energy. So apparently, since like you come to realize this type of things, that okay, the matrix is real, and the matrix wants men to be weak, wants more boys to be more feminized, especially as they go into their early 20s and within their 30s, because the 20s and the 30s is actually the peak life of a male's life. And of course, within the teenage years, like you mess around, you do mistakes, you do like all of these things that you are unconscious of because of peer pressure, because of the cultural conditioning and programming that exists within music, that exists within the entertainment space, that exists in so many places. Even within school itself has programmed us, like to actually like deplete our energy in so many various ways. Even when it comes to drinking and smoking, all of these things are things that like we've accepted as modern day males. And this is why like I've also noticed why testosterone has been dropping significantly from the last entire decade, from the last 30 years, from the last entire century, because we're actually like at the lowest scale on the testosterone level in this modern day era. And yeah, testosterone is gonna keep on dropping. More and more men are gonna become more feminized and weak. And semen retention, it's actually a solution to all of this, cause if ever you practice semen retention, you start to realize like there's a whole lot of different things that you start like gaining, especially when it comes to mental clarity, mental vitality, your sharpness and your focus, and like your sense of groundedness, and like testosterone starts becoming more revived within you. And yeah, semen retention, it's a practice that can actually like assist a whole lot of individuals whenever it comes to creative certain things in their life, because sexual energy itself, whenever it is retained, cultivated and refined, it's actually like a really powerful energy that could be used to make money. It can be used to go to the gym and improve their posture and physique. It can be used for so many things, whether it comes to sketching, writing, music, any creative outlet like you intend to have in life. This is why, like, the system actually promotes men to engage in promiscuous activities that's going to deplete this energy, because they don't want most men in nowadays to be more creative, because the more creative you are, the more you have the inability to create something, the more you have the intelligence to actually, like, bring out various solutions, like, that could assist with the modern day issues and the modern day struggles that most people are going through. So apparently, like, most men nowadays are not actually that creative, especially, like, when it comes to, like, the fact that the modern day youth, especially more males, like, who are in their early teens, they've been, like, programmed in a certain way that she should chase as much girls as much as he possibly can, to engage within sexual act with them from a very, very young age, because they want these type of males whenever they start out from the age of 13, entering their early 20s and 30s. They want more men to be sexually depleted, because they understand the more sexually depleted most young men are, the less creative they are, the more they lack the ability to be able to manifest things in their lives, the ability to be able to look at various issues and problems within society and be able to create various solutions, because sexual energy itself, it is creative energy. It is literally like the driving force behind desire. It's literally the driving force in which, like, so many things that we see around us have been created. They've been created by sexual energy. This phone right now, there's someone who actually used the ability of creativity, like, to actually create this phone. And what that needs? It needs sexual energy itself is actually an element that it's needed to create something. Even this phone right now that I'm recording with, someone at some point had to harness and, like, retain their own sexual energy and use that creative energy that comes with their own retained sexual energy, with that cultivated energy, to come with the idea and, like, the level of creativity to create this phone. And each and every single thing, especially when it comes to also, like, the cars that we drive, the clothes that we wear, to the gadgets and tools and the electronics, each and every single thing that we see in this modern day world, that we see, like, that has been created within each and every single day, it actually, like, an expression of creative energy. And one way or another, if ever you have a high dominant sexual energy, the more creative you become. And yeah, the Matrix doesn't want, like, most men to be like this, because if most men were creative, there'd be a whole lot of things that could change in this world. There could be inventions, there could be gadgets, there could be tools, there could be solutions that could be bring out by various men. But then, like, the Matrix wants men to be weak. The Matrix wants men to be feminized. It wants men to be more of the consumers rather than being the creators, especially the black man, because the black man who is awakened, a black man who is both educated in a way but also awakened, and also a man who knows himself to the in-depth core, where he can see beyond the illusions of the modern day world, who can see beyond the illusions of the holographic constructs, the illusions that has been set out by the global system. Bro, if ever you're a black person, a black man, and you can see through these illusions, you're a dangerous person, because they know at some point you'll have the ability to create something. And this has nothing to do with being racist, because I clearly said the word black. Of course, I'm talking about all other men from various races, but the biggest target the Matrix has is an African man. It's a black man. It's like a man who is not actually conscious of who they really are in terms of their own sexual energy, when it comes to their own intelligence, when it comes to their own very level of creativity, and the level of who they really are on the multidimensional scale. Because at the end of the day, each and every single human is a multidimensional being. Each and every single individual is a multidimensional consciousness, and, like, sexual energy itself can also be permeated within different layers. So yeah, this is just a small part of what I wanted to say about, like, actually the matrix and the system doesn't want men to retain, it doesn't want men to cultivate the sexual energy. And yeah, even if you're someone who's on the self-improvement path, you cannot actually take your journey of self-improvement to the next peak if you're not retaining and cultivating your own sexual energy. Yeah. And like, ever since, like, my awakening happened in 2020, I started noticing a whole lot of what I'm seeing right now, because it took a hard blow for me to realize these things. It took a hard blow for me to accept these things are actually true, because at some point, whenever I had to tell people this type of knowledge and information, especially my friends and peers, especially my own parents, that apparently, the matrix is real, we're being programmed, we're being indoctrinated, we're being brainwashed to view reality in a certain way. There are certain divine given abilities and intelligence that we humans possess on the multi-dimensional scale that we could use to collectively change the state of humanity. And most people think that I'm just a paranoid bro who just went into conspiracies. And like, yeah, that's just what actually happens whenever you awaken, because like, you're just on a whole different vibrational wavelength than most people. You perceive knowledge and information and insight that others who are on a low vibrational wavelength will not be able to perceive. So yeah, that's another thing about awakening. And semen retention itself, it's one of those practices that you come across knowing, especially whenever, like, you're gonna go through the awakening process. Trust me, at some point, a person who goes through an awakening, at some point they will reach a point in their lives where they're gonna discover the truth about their own semen, about their own sexual fluid, about their own sexual energy, but about how much crucial impact that it does to one's individual's life. And yeah, sexual energy, it's a powerful energy, and like, when you come to realize these things, it becomes weird to the collective norm when you're gonna tell them, like, as someone who retains their sexual energy, who cultivates their energy, has much more capabilities of being able to create things, has a much more capability of spiritually advancing and like fulfilling various aspects of their lives, because most people will view anything that has to do with sexuality, with immorality, with pleasure, with only having fun, and just using this energy for various reasons that do not have to do with spirituality, that do not have to do with creating something. So yeah, there's a whole lot of misconceptions and norms that have been painted around the concept of sexuality. And yeah, if ever you're a person who's on a journey of awakening, or you're just a person who came to discover the practice of semen retention, trust me, a whole lot of individuals are not gonna understand this practice of retaining your sexual energy, this practice of using your own sexual energy for different various aspects in your life. Because for most people, it ain't normal for a man to retain. Because why are you retaining? Why can't you just nut it out on a girl? Why can't you just nut it out on adult content? Why don't you just nut it out? Because it's just the physical fluid that's just used to create a baby, that's just used to engage in various activities. And like, if ever your bro who's on semen retention, most people will come to realize that you're doing this practice, they're gonna call you weird, they're gonna call you awkward, they're gonna call you crazy. One of the like various things that happen when you go through an awakening, because trust me, fam, there's a whole lot of messed up things in this world that people are actually engaging in certain things that like, they're not unconscious. They're not conscious themselves. They are really, really unconscious of the things that they're doing. So yeah, you should expect there's gonna be a whole lot of judgment, a whole lot of criticism. I don't know even if the word that I just called that now really exists, but you get what I'm trying to say. Is there's a whole lot of individuals who will literally like troll on you. Others are gonna criticize you. Others are gonna laugh at you and call you crazy because as a man, you're retaining, you're fluid, you're not engaging in various sexual habits as most of the collective individuals are actually doing. Especially if ever maybe you do engage in sexual acts, but instead of releasing, you engage in non-ejaculatory S3 acts. That becomes a whole different level of breaking the social norm, because most men don't even know that apparently you can actually separate orgasmic release from, apparently what I'm trying to say, an orgasm from an ejaculatory release. Most people think like for each and every single man these things like have to occur. If you go through an orgasm, then you have to go to an ejaculatory release. But the moment you tell them you can actually have an orgasm without having an ejaculatory release, where you are engaging in tantric S3X, or like you're using non-ejaculatory S3X practices to continue to retain your own semen, to continue to, retain your own seminal fluid. For a whole lot of people, it's gonna sound weird, and it's gonna sound impossible, and it's gonna sound cringe and awkward. And you know what? It's just the world that we live in. And one thing I wanna say is that don't be, held back by what people are gonna say, what others are gonna bring out to you, telling you that you're not supposed to retain, you're supposed to deplete it, you're supposed to let it out, you're supposed to continuously engage within this destructive unconscious habits. Because one way or another, this energy, sexual energy, it's either you create something with it, or you channel it towards something else. Because at the end of the day, this energy, it's used to procreate another human being. If you can procreate another human being, then why can't it rejuvenate your cells? Why can't it rejuvenate your organs? Why can't it rejuvenate your mindset? Why can't it rejuvenate each and every single thing that has to do with your life besides procreating another human being? Because this energy itself, it is the energy of creation. It is a creative energy. As long as you get to understand how powerful this energy is, then you're just gonna understand that there's a whole different layer to it. And whenever you come to realize this, there's no turning back from practicing retention. And yeah, I'm currently on day 40 right now. I just reached my day 40, and I'm still counting. And trust me, fam, I'm actually gonna make sure as much as I possibly can to go on much more longer streaks, not just for a couple of weeks, not just for a couple of months, but I'm actually gonna push this streak for years and years to come. And this video that I'm recording right now, I want it to be, like a testimony to whenever I reach my highest peak. These videos are gonna be a part of like my own journey. That's why even if right now I don't have a whole lot of viewers, I don't have a whole lot of subscribers, to those who clicked on this video, I really appreciate it. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel, and please drop down a comment on what you want me to record more videos about. And since now I'm on this semen retention journey, there's a whole lot of things that I actually came to realize that I should have done this practice much more earlier, especially whenever there were times I was very indecisive. There were times where I was really feminine, I was really weak, I was really a simp, to be honest. And I was really unconscious and destructive in so many ways that I've been behaving and acting. And at the same time, I really had struggles fixing my relationship with so many chicks that that at that time I knew who had an interest in me, but I just did not took the right risks at that time that I should have made, or I should have used the opportunity that came by. Because I was literally depleted at that point of time. And since now I'm retaining, I've noticed that there's a whole lot of changes internally. I've noticed that I'm feeling more grounded. My energy has increased, and my muscles have become more toned. And there's a whole lot of things that I'm noticing, that ever since I started retaining, retaining actually works, fam. Retaining, it's actually a powerful practice. Even if I'm on day 40, on my 30th day, I actually manifested a job. In this time and era where job opportunities are really really scarce, especially here in South Africa, the fact that I just manifested a job just by retaining my gonads for 30 days, it's crazy, fam. And I just want to see what kind of benefits am I gonna see as more time I'm gonna start retaining. Because even there's something that I've also noticed the most men go into like the practice of semen retention also for the reason of attracting females. Honestly speaking, I haven't actually noticed that much of female attraction that much, because like this is not even the reason why I started practicing semen retention. It's more of the spiritual benefits, as I've mentioned in my previous videos. So if ever at some point maybe the female attraction benefits or like a female attraction part does happening, maybe I am gonna start recording more videos. But you know what, this video is all about self-improvement. These videos are all about semen retention, retaining and transmuting this energy. And yeah, these videos are definitely gonna be a testimonial until the day I actually reached my peak. And yeah, I'm not gonna stop recording videos. I'm not gonna stop retaining. I'm not gonna stop channeling this energy. And I'm also gonna use various practices and techniques to learn how to engage in non-ejaculatory S3X, cause at the end of the day, I don't wanna relapse. Even if at some point I do attract a female who gonna wanna get it on with me, I don't wanna like relapse, fam, cause nah. Yeah, this practice definitely has its own pros, and yeah, I wanna use these pros of this practice to reach the greatest peak of my life. And yeah, for also to all who also watching this video, continue retaining, continue transmuting, continue like cultivating this energy, and I'll see you in the next videos. See ya.